Your wedding day. Some say it should be a sacred event, special. But tonight, some West Michigan clergy members and elected officials are calling some of those ceremonies a mockery.
A tipster used Report It to ask Target 8 to investigate the explosion of those online ordinations. And we found folks from all kinds of backgrounds spending a couple of minutes online, getting ordained, and getting paid to perform weddings.
I now pronounce that you are husband and wife. You may kiss your bride.
This is what we got ordained to do, is to perform wedding ceremonies. Over
the last decade, Ken Kibbe estimates that he's done over 800 weddings, sometimes up to 3 a weekend.
If anything, it shows that I'm versatile.
Ken is a reverend with the Universal Life Church, just one of several online ministries where anyone can become ordained just by typing in their name, address, and paying a small fee. It's a practice that's perfectly legal in Michigan, and one that's drawing increased scrutiny.
I have no means of checking. There is no central registry.
Allegan County Clerk Joyce Watt says Michigan's marriage law isn't clear and doesn't specify what standards a religious figure must meet to be able to perform these ceremonies.
It's silent as to how you prove that you're a clergy person.
Even so-called clergy with the Church of the Latter-day Dude.
And I myself have recently become an ordained Dudist priest.
Dudism is a blend of Eastern philosophies espoused by Jeff Bridges' character in the movie The Big Lebowski.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
The church has ordained over 100,000 people. It's considered legitimate.
Yes.
Why would a state, for instance, or a county or whoever, recognize something like that as valid when it's clearly has no substance to it at all?
Scott Jose is an ordained pastor and director for the Center of Excellence in Preaching at Calvin College.
Clearly, if you're going to be recognized as ordained, if anybody's going to recognize you as ordained, as being a reverend, there ought to be a whole lot more to it than you just, paid your $5 or whatever it is to a website.
In fact, at least 4 states, Connecticut, Alabama, Virginia, and Tennessee, all prohibit weddings performed by ministers who do not have active ministries. Even in Las Vegas, famous for its quick hitch wedding chapels, ministers have to be licensed by a county clerk.
Professionally, it feels a little insulting, right, that somebody can gain the same title that most people gain after sometimes as many as 7 or 8 years of post-high school education.
Should that be allowed?
I don't think so. I think it cheapens marriage.
Target 8 took these concerns to Granville Republican Dave Agema, who has long supported strengthening marriage. Agema says it may be time for lawmakers to toughen the statute.
So I would oppose what they are doing, and I would be even willing to put in a little legislation, not much, but a little, to make sure that it's done the appropriate way that for 200 years in this country has been done.
Ministers like Ken Kibbe insist they're providing a valuable service for couples who seek an unconventional ceremony. Online or not, he takes what he does seriously and would support tougher wording.
Honestly, I would like to see licensing to weed out some of the others, because this is not something that I take very lightly. My reputation is at stake.
Universal Life Church would not comment on camera for this story, but they did issue a statement to Target 8 asserting their First Amendment rights to freedom of religion and promising to fight any law if introduced, saying in part that this is the same type of persecution that those of the Jewish faith received at the beginning of the Nazi regime, and it must be stopped before it goes any further.
Never make a rule that you can't enforce and don't intend to enforce.
Target 8 also learned that county clerks in Michigan actually floated the idea of pushing for marriage reform, but the efforts never materialized, in part because it would be difficult and costly to enforce such a law. Watts puts the onus on the couple getting married.
It's up to the individuals who are getting married to make sure that the person who is conducting the ceremony is empowered.
If the state decides that they want to crack down on it, I will probably proceed to the next step to make sure that I'm capable of continuing to do what I do. I love what I do.
Church of the Dude.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was an option for you, I'm sure.
No, not an option. Wow, that's interesting, though. So a lot of people on the side making a lot of money making this their business.
Not a lot. You know, Ken Kibbe, we talked to him. He still has a day job. So this is something that you really can't make a career out of, but it's these fringe groups that I think are drawing a little attention.
Very interesting. Okay.